Hello, my friends. My name is Evelyn Joy, and welcome back to my channel. Today, I'm going to be talking about companion planting, and I want to start off talking about squash. If you've ever gardened growing squash, you probably know by now that squash is just so amazing to grow. It grows very fast. It makes these beautiful flowers that practically look tropical. You can even eat the flowers. I've heard they're spicy. I will probably try them this year. And unfortunately, several different kinds of insects like to completely decimate and destroy your crop of um squash. And I'm not really into using chemicals to kill bugs because the whole point of gardening is to grow organic usually, right? But some people use more organic options like neem oil or Seven Dust. I haven't tried any of those, but I am interested in learning more about companion planting. So I want to talk about some of the experiments and ideas and things I've read online. I'm in a lot of Facebook groups about gardening. I've got gardening friends. I watch YouTube videos from gardeners that know what they're talking about. And so I wanted to share some of my ideas of how to combat the squash bugs, the dreaded squash bugs, the vine borers, the stink bugs, all even the cucumber beetles, all the ones that just attack and decimate the squash plants, and then they move on to your melons, and it's just a nightmare. We would love to prevent that, right? Can we prevent it? That'd be awesome. We would like more pollinators and less of those bad bugs, right? So one thing I found online on a one YouTuber was growing um this kind of zucchini. So I don't know how big the balls are. I think they're smaller kind, but I could be wrong. But I looked up and I ordered the exact one that she mentioned. She said that the stems are thorny and thicker. Now I'm going to grow it and let you guys know, but those vine borers that like to bore into the vines and leave their larvae there to kill off your plant completely so their little baby bugs can grow, they apparently have a harder time penetrating this particular kind of zucchini. So for me, it's worth a try, right? Another thing I found fascinating that I heard for the first time ever is that growing parsley around your squash just wards off those bugs altogether. One lady swore by it. She said she had studied companion planting for squash and zucchini. Zucchini is a squash. So if I go back and forth, zucchini is a type of squash. There are many types of squash. This is another one I'm going to talk about. But anyway, for all the squash plants, parsley can help ward off those bugs. One lady online, she said she had researched growing parsley with her squash, and that for 5 years she has not had a single problem with bugs around her squash plants, and she swears by the parsley. So I figured that was worth trying. Also, marigolds. I had heard that marigolds are awesome for bringing in those pollinators like our butterflies that we love and our bumblebees that we love. The smell draws them in, and then also the scent throws off things like hornworms, things that attack our tomato plants. So these are great to grow in vegetable gardens anyway. Marigolds. Now, I'm not really a flower gardener unless it's benefiting my fruits and vegetables because I'm more of a food gardener. I just feel like my garden needs to give something back to me for all my time and effort and money that I've put into it. I would like to get some strawberries and some food and fruit and vegetables out of this hard labor I've done. Uh I'm not as much of a flower person, but I do love sunflowers because you get those sunflower seeds to eat and they're big and beautiful and bright. Sunflowers are my favorite. But I also love these marigolds because they're beneficial. They say that you can use them in a healthy tea. Be careful though, because I saw online one lady, she had like an exotic salad and she got a marigold seed stuck in her cheek. So don't put the seeds in your mouth. That caused like basically a splinter infection thing that was not nice. But anyway, that is neither here nor there. Marigolds. Apparently, I should have been growing marigolds around the squash because it also disguises the smell of the squash to ward off those bad bugs, the predatory ones. So, you know what? Also, grow marigolds around your melons. Protect your melons too, you know? Now, radishes. I'm doubtful about this one, but I've heard radishes supposedly are another one that you can plant in with your squash plants. Now, radishes don't take up much space. This is a bigger kind of radish. I figured if I'm growing radishes, I'm going to grow the bigger ones, right? Because if it's the scent that throws them off, cool. They say that I've heard some people say that the scent kind of maybe the squash bugs don't like the scent. I've heard other people say that the squash bugs like the radishes, so they attack the radishes instead. I don't know what's going on with radishes. I'm doubtful about it, but I will try all the companion plants around it that I want to. I'm interested in growing this kind of squash. This is a butternut squash because I want to grow as much food as possible, as much fruits and vegetables as possible, right? Basil's another one that is really good to grow around tomatoes. They say basil and marigolds are the main companion plants for tomatoes. And I think maybe I've heard mention of basil probably around your squash plants as well. I could be wrong about that though. I'm interested in growing mint, but mint comes with a big warning. There's a positive and there's a negative. The mint, you can grow it anywhere. It will multiply. It will take over. So there's good and bad to that. So I have in my yard bare spots where grass did not grow. I am not one of those people that's trying to have an impeccable lawn, but I see an opportunity. I'm going to grow some mint in my front yard in those bare spots, and hopefully it won't make its way to my backyard. And if it does, I will harvest it or dig it up and sell it, right? And hopefully it doesn't become an invasive problem, but I'm thinking about growing some mint in those bare patches in my front yard and keeping it far from my garden, where if it takes over your garden, it's a big nightmare from what I hear. But peppermint can be used in teas. It smells really good when you mow your lawn and you can just mow right over it. And it smells really nice. So anyway, all different kinds of mint apply to all of that I just said. I'm just going to go through some of my seeds and show you guys, and we're going to talk a little bit about companion planting. Now, companion planting comes with warnings as well. So there's benefits, as we've been talking about, but there's also negatives. For example, aren't these nice? These are sunflowers. Different kinds of sunflowers. I planted some of these in containers and some of these in the ground. These can be 10 feet tall, the mammoth sunflower. But no matter what sunflower you grow, don't grow it by other plants. I made that mistake last year and my other plants kind of suffered because of it. I didn't have any green beans last year. I think because of planting my green beans and my sunflowers right next to each other. My sunflowers were successful, but they took their root system took up all the nutrients from all the other plants. So my other plants were not as successful because I made that mistake last year. So we're not going to make that mistake again. These ones I have in containers. Now, if you have sunflowers in containers, you want to make sure that they don't dry out, because containers, you have to water them more often and stuff. You do need drainage holes so they don't drown, right? But also, sunflowers probably won't grow quite as tall when their roots aren't able to spread out as far. Now, if you are buying this huge of a mammoth sunflower, please don't put it in a container. It's going to need to be in soil far from other plants. What I did was I made a small little raised bed. And I put 4 of these mammoth sunflowers in there. Now they're going to maybe not grow to be 10 feet tall because they're near each other, but we'll see how tall they grow. Watch my videos to see. I will give updates on their growth anyway. So I ordered extra parsley for companion planting with squash. I'm just going to show you some cherry tomatoes. These are a smaller kind of watermelon. It is a sugar baby. Now, the advantage to growing sugar baby watermelons is you can trellis them and you can grow vertically and it'll take up less ground space. Um, I have never seen a sunflower that's this color, an orange sunflower. Isn't that lovely? I'm growing sweet corn, but I went ahead and got extra in case I want to make another bed of sweet corn or have some for next year. We'll see. I've never seen a sunflower this color either. So anyway, I went to Walmart and I was just kind of looking through the last of their seeds that were left over. Got some cucumbers, got some lettuce. Lettuce is more of a cold weather plant, so is cabbage. But yeah, I love me some sugar snap peas. These ones are actually sugar daddy. So tell me in the comments, are sugar daddy like bigger sugar snap peas? Because they appear to be way bigger. And so I might try that next season. We'll see what happens. But yeah, so these little carrots I'm going to try in containers because they to me in the raised beds they wouldn't be worth it. I should mention I did not order these carrot seeds. When you order from Baker's Creek, they send you some free seeds along with your seed order. And they sent me these ones, which are little round carrots. Now, I don't know the size of them, but I'm guessing they're about the size of a radish, maybe a little bigger. So I think these would be good carrots to do in a shallow container. So I am going to try some of that perhaps in a shallow container. I think I already sowed some from a different packet that they gave me, or I could be wrong. I might not have yet. Kajari melon, I'm not sure if I'm going to grow that this year, but I have in past years and it went really well. But yeah, those are just some of, I saved marigold seeds in the past, so I'm going to use some of those. I'm just going to look through some of my seeds. Let's talk about companion planting as I go through my hoarded stash of seeds here. Whoa, this is a huge treasure chest full of seeds, busting at the seams full of seeds. My goodness. Oh my goodness. So I did a video this morning where I started some peanuts. I tried sowing them outside, but the squirrels wanted to dig them up and eat them. I've got one left over after the squirrels got to them. So I ordered more. This one's for next year. I have one packet this size, about 20 peanuts that were soaked in water, put in paper towels and Ziploc bags and taped to the window so that they can start to grow a root. And then I will start the little plants inside and then I will plant them outside, but I'll kind of cover the soil up so the squirrels have a tougher time getting to it, right? Got a bunch of carrots and marigolds. Black beans, these are bush beans. They're lots of fun to grow in the soil. We've got, so this is yellow straight neck squash. Basil is a great companion plant. And it's also, there's container varieties too. So I'm growing some container basil. So there's different kinds of yellow squash. This one is early summer crookneck squash. So anyway, squash is such a delight to grow, and it's such a tragedy to watch it be destroyed by disgusting bugs. So any way we can figure out how to solve the problem would be fantastic, right? I've got zucchini. Oh, I have so many good things. Green beans. Now, green beans, you have to be careful. You have to look at the label and see whether it says it's a bush bean, which means it does not need a trellis, or a pole bean, which means it needs a very tall trellis, right? I like growing both. I like growing bush beans in containers or raised beds, and I like growing pole beans up my trellis. So you can have lots of them. Cilantro. I love me some cilantro. I love cooking with cilantro. With heat, it bolts and goes to seed. But those flowers attract those pollinators, like the bumblebees that we want in our garden, right? Or the honeybees, whoever. And also the seeds, you can save them and plant more cilantro. And I heard online that gardeners oftentimes recommend just reseeding, replanting coriander, cilantro every couple of weeks and just growing more and more so you have a constant flow of supply. Now, I just easily cut the leaves and freeze them in my freezer and use them in all sorts of cooking. I've got cabbage. I have trouble growing cold weather plants here because our weather goes from freezing to real hot in a short amount of time. So it's hard to grow those brassicas here. That being said, I have friends who have successful brassicas, and I've had some successful brassicas before as well. When I say brassicas include like cabbage, broccoli, cauliflower. Tell me in the comments if there's more brassicas than those three. There probably are. I don't know. So I've got quite the collection of Dollar Tree squash. There's different kinds of squash, and they all look interesting. This one's butternut squash. It looks like I've attempted it before. It wasn't successful because I think that was at the end of the season last year, and then we didn't have much rain, and I just kind of let my garden die off at the end of the season because it wasn't worth the water, in my opinion, at the end of the season, you know. I kind of gave up on gardening at the end of the season last year. Right now, it's the beginning of the season. I'm very enthusiastic, as you can tell. I've got some cool seeds. I'm growing bell peppers in containers, and they're a lot more successful than in the raised beds. And I'm not the only gardener that noticed it. Another gardener mentioned it online as well in a group. And we were talking about it, how peppers enjoy heated soil. They want real warm soil. And in containers, the soil warms up faster, particularly if you have it in a dark colored container, like a black container or something. And so the plants seem to flourish more. Also, pepper plants like to be near each other. So in containers, you can have those pepper plants right next to each other, and they like holding hands with each other. They're buddies. So yeah. Don't make the mistake of growing cantaloupe right by other plants. Now, this year I have some cantaloupe that I hope will be going over my trellis. But if you don't have a trellis to put it on, it will just go everywhere and it'll choke out every plant it gets its little grips on. So what I planted in that bed was marigolds and carrots. So hopefully it'll go up the trellis and not choke out my plants. But if it does, it's just marigolds and carrots, which is not that big of a deal. So yeah, lots of good stuff. This is my 4th year gardening, and the more I garden, the more I learn, the more I research, the more I can grow. This is my 1st year growing mammoth sunflower. This is my 1st year growing peanuts. So every year I try different things and I learn different lessons and I make new mistakes and I learn new things and I grow as a gardener. I have successfully grown corn before, but the corn I grew was too chewy. So this time I'm growing the sweet corn, which is the kind that we actually eat. I think the kind I grew before was more for like maybe giving to animals or something, not so much to eat as humans. Maybe I grew the wrong kind of corn. I'm not sure. But now I'm growing sweet corn and I think it'll be successful. Please subscribe to my channel and check out my garden. Watch my garden grow. I have a lot more plans. Right now, I'm going to go outside. I've been getting free wood on Facebook Marketplace and just building structures. I'll put cardboard down, which is also free. And I'll put leaves down that's free. I'll get soil on sale and put it down. And just grow some plants. And it's an amazing thing to just watch the plants grow. So anyway, thanks so much for watching. Have a fantastic day. Tell me in the comments, are you gardening? Are you enjoying watching my garden? Tell me what you like to grow in the comments below. Have a great day. Bye.